Now let's go to the more complex topic of the naturalistic fallacy. Jordan is constantly accusing Sam Harris of committing the naturalistic fallacy. Let's try and take this apart. Now, the naturalistic fallacy can mean several things. For one thing, it can mean that you can't deduce first-person facts from third-person facts. This is what some people have taken this to actually mean. And whenever you see the naturalistic fallacy being involved, at least in the way I encounter it in the discourse, it's very often phenomenologists, for example, sociologists, people who are dealing with the left quadrants, who are dealing with consciousness or facts about consciousness, who are insisting that scientists can't immediately deduce facts about consciousness from just observing third-person reality. This is, for example, brains or social structures. You can't deduce facts about experience from just looking at brains and just looking at behaviors. This is the one way in which the naturalistic fallacy is being invoked. And I guess we all agree that it's not possible to deduce even a single feature of consciousness, a single quality of consciousness, from whatever kind of objective fact you take. At least not immediately. As Wilber says, of course, once you have talked to a person and engaged in dialogue and asked her, what do you feel? What is it like? You can then correlate experiences. This is first-person facts with third-person facts, with specific brain states. But there is no way of immediately, this is to say, without ever having talked to anyone before, by just looking to find out what an experience necessarily must be like just by looking at a brain or just by looking at any kind of third-person structure. I guess we agree on that. And I think this is what Peterson is partly accusing Sam Harris of. Because he's not aware that Sam has a much bigger picture of science. Sam is not a monological scientist. He's not someone who admits only the reality of the right quadrants. It was really absurd to hear Peterson accuse him of not being aware of the hard problem of consciousness, his work as a public intellectual, this is Harris's work as a public intellectual, started out by insisting that first-person reality is just as reducible as third-person reality is. It was really weird, and Peterson was insisting he had read all his books, so I really don't know how he came up with that. Maybe it is because apart from the fact that Sam admits the existence of consciousness, he doesn't really say anything about it. Think about it. He doesn't give you a rich phenomenology of it. I mean, what is it like to be conscious then? If you look at his work, you don't find so much in it. You find much more details in the work of postmodernists and of sociologists or structuralists than in the work of Sam Harris. Well, he actually denies some of the major features that are taken to be foundational for first-person experience, like, for example, free will, or what Wilber calls agency. He doesn't talk about agency, he doesn't talk about communion, he doesn't talk about the drive towards self-transcendence, he doesn't speak much about consciousness, if you look at it, or I've skipped it, but I've read most of his works, so I don't know. But he doesn't speak about specific qualia, about specific qualities and their distinctions. So this maybe led Peterson to assume he was some kind of materialist, I don't know. But Sam is in any case fully aware of the problem, of the hard problem of consciousness. So maybe in this one way he's accusing him of the naturalistic fallacy. Peterson is accusing Sam Harris of a naturalistic fallacy, that he seems to deduce maybe first-person facts from third-person facts, which is absurd, or maybe not even be aware of first-person facts at all. Let me go into this distinction of first-person and third-person facts a bit further, because I think it really helps the whole debate.